Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Hope you're all doing well and keeping safe. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Edouard Mendy's move to Chelsea, N'Golo Kante and Olivier Giroud. But before we get into any of that, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also hit that like button if you're enjoying the content because it helps out the channel as well. Let's start off with the breaking news today about Edouard Mendy. It appears the move for the Rennes goalkeeper is very close to completion now. It's expected to be done over the weekend. Fabrizio Romano, a very prevalent name in Chelsea's very busy transfer window, confirming this news early on today. As you can see here from his tweet, the new bid from Chelsea for Edouard Mendy has been accepted by Rennes. Here we go, another here we go of many this summer for Chelsea. Deal to be completed on next day as the goalkeeper is ready to fly to London and he'll have medical soon. Personal terms agreed days ago. Lampard will have his new goalkeeper, and also a follow-up to this, Edouard Mendy will be in London in next few hours, so that's tonight. The deal is 100% done, and also Chelsea will consider a move for Declan Rice. I've spoken about that in the past. Also want to give credit to Simon Johnson from The Athletic, who broke this story earlier this week, spoke about that in a video about Edouard Mendy on Tuesday. So he was ahead of the curve on this as well. But not a lot of us know that much about Mendy, to be honest. And how is he going to adapt to the Premier League? Is he just a short-term option? I think the main thing for me about this is Petr Cech's involvement and influence in this transfer. I was listening to a great Chelsea podcast, the London is Blue pod, which I definitely suggest you go and listen to and subscribe to, support that pod. They had Matt Law on once again, the very reliable Matt Law. And he was speaking about this deal and Petr Cech's influence and how Frank Lampard passed off the responsibility to Petr Cech to go out and get this keeper, and also Christoph Lolotron having an influence as well. The former goalkeeping coach when Cech was at Chelsea for quite a long time, to be honest. Even though Lolotron has moved on from Chelsea now and coaching regularly, he still works for the club in small ways and obviously has an influence in this deal, and I think that's big as well. And to be honest, if you're going to give someone a responsibility to sign a Chelsea goalkeeper, to pick Chelsea's next goalkeeper, who better than the greatest goalkeeper in Chelsea's history in Petr Cech? If Big Beat's happy, I'm happy. I really hope Mendy settles in. Another tweet here from Expected Chelsea, a great account. Go and follow it. Always reference it on the channel. He's been tweeting a lot about Edouard Mendy, and this is based on his stats last season. Last season, Edouard Mendy was one of the only two goalkeepers 190 centimeters or taller in the top 5 leagues to rank above the median in the following categories: shot stopping, cross collection, efficiency, which is a big thing we lacked last season with Kepa, long pass completion, defensive actions outside the box as well, a real all-rounder. It looks good, it looks promising, but I think it's always the question of how he's going to adapt to the Premier League, the pressure of playing for Rennes and the pressure of playing for a club like Chelsea, the scrutiny, and especially based off of last season, all the scrutiny on Kepa. I hope not only for Mendy's sake he comes in and performs well for himself and improves that area for Chelsea. Also, I hope in any way it can spur on Kepa to get back to some sort of form, just for his confidence as well. Hopefully it will boost him and motivate him to get better. I know there's a lot of people who feel he's a lost cause, but if he's going to stay this season, as fans we need to support him, we need to get behind him, and hopefully it will spur him on, and hopefully Mendy will improve that area, because Chelsea definitely need to improve that area. No one now could turn around and say Chelsea haven't invested in goalkeeper and we've just forgotten about it. We have now. Petr Cech, very much influential, and I like that because it's the connection between Frank Lampard, Petr Cech and the board which seems to be working wonders right now for Chelsea in this particular transfer window. So another signing in such a ridiculous window. Will we get another signing? We're going to have to wait and see. Please let me know your opinions on this deal in the comments below. Next, talking about some outgoing rumours. N'Golo Kante. I've spoken a lot about N'Golo Kante on the channel. My feeling very adamantly that selling N'Golo Kante would be a major mistake for Chelsea this summer. And Inter Milan have always been the club that have apparently been in for him. And this was broken last night by Matt Law. Chelsea turned down Inter Milan bid for N'Golo Kante. Chelsea have turned down a bid for N'Golo Kante from Inter that included Marcelo Brozovic, and have also informed the Italian club they are not interested in a deal including former Tottenham Hotspur midfielder Christian Eriksen. Apparently, of course, Antonio Conte wants N'Golo Kante at Inter this summer, one of his top targets, but it does seem Inter are struggling for money at the moment and Chelsea are not interested. So obviously, firstly, I'm just going to reinstate, we're not selling N'Golo Kante and we should not be selling N'Golo Kante. We don't need Christian Eriksen. I don't really know why he'd be offered and why Chelsea would be interested. I don't know if Inter are aware we don't need another central midfielder. We signed Kai Havertz last week and are very stacked in that position, Brozovic, I could sort of understand because he is a defensive midfielder. Chelsea could have looked at that and gone, that's an interesting prospect for us because we do need a defensive midfielder, or we're looking at one in Declan Rice and Samar from Lille. But for me, it's not enough for a player of N'Golo Kante's quality. I think Kante will be a big player for Chelsea this season. And I think maybe coupled with the fact that Inter don't have the funds to sign N'Golo Kante, and you shouldn't be doing it in any sort of swap deal for a player of N'Golo Kante's quality and potential fee you could get for him, as we've spoken about before. But also, I just think that Antonio Conte thing, I think Conte's action with Chelsea, the dispute with Chelsea going to court and all of that stuff, it really is just so sour, that relationship now. So I think that was always going to break down any negotiations. And we did hear from Inter recently, they weren't in for N'Golo Kante, but it's interesting it did come from Matt Law, this report. So I think it is quite reliable, but it's good to see Chelsea swiftly rejected the bid. Please let me know your opinions about this story in the comments below. And lastly, another Chelsea player linked with a move to Serie A, Olivier Giroud, apparently to Juventus. Marcio claiming last night that he'd agreed a 2-year contract and claimed that Chelsea were asking for a €5 million fee for Olivier Giroud. There was a lot of reaction to this, strong reaction against this deal. But then luckily this morning, once again, Simon Johnson, very reliable, tweeting this morning here, amid reports from Italy about a 2-year contract being agreed with Juventus last night, sources have told me Olivier Giroud is staying at Chelsea and camp are not in contact with Serie A side. Giroud knows he has a role to play on and off the pitch as a senior member of the squad. There'll be question of how new signings will affect his game time and concerns over being in France squad for Euros. Been assured that Giroud will be very happy if team is stronger and challenging for the title. When window opens, situations can change, but source pretty clear. With Werner liking to play off front man, should be plenty of matches for Giroud, especially with so many fixtures being crammed in short time. Club will want to trim squad, raise funds to help balance books, but would be surprised as things stand if Giroud is the one they let go. Firstly, it's a relief to me. It really is, because this would have been a massive mistake. Of course, Michy Batshuayi going on loan to Crystal Palace for the season. So, of course, I think Chelsea do need free strikers. I know someone's saying, of course, Kai Havertz could play up there. Maybe Christian Pulisic as a false nine. No, for me, we need free strikers. I really hated in previous years where Chelsea just had 2 strikers. It's not good enough. We need 3 strikers. And I think it really helps us having Olivier Giroud, the option of Olivier Giroud. And after coming in against Spurs back in February, where it looked like he was going to leave the club in January, he scored 9 goals from there, which helped Chelsea get Champions League football. Such an instrumental part of Chelsea's attack in the remaining games of the season. He was incredible. He really was, and went up in so many fans' estimation. For me as well, it's going into this season and looking at how the squad is shaping up and how Giroud could get minutes. He's a great plan B. He really is. The ability to link up with players, the physicality needed in the league. I think the link up with Timo Werner as well, adapting to the league. Timo Werner, I think maybe he will start up top for Chelsea, and that will be his main role if he succeeds there. But the fact that Timo Werner at Leipzig played off a more bulkier striker, Frank could try that not only with Olivier Giroud but with Tammy Abraham. And that's something to me that people are forgetting as well. The amount of games Chelsea are going to be playing this year, the need for squad rotation over the season by Frank Lampard, fatigue, injury, suspension. And I think that could give a chance for Giroud to get into the team. And if Werner, say, is struggling early on to adapt to the Premier League, Frank could opt to bring in Olivier Giroud for that experience and maybe play Werner a little bit wider. Then, of course, the question is posed, what about Christian Pulisic? And you need Christian Pulisic in that team. But still, squad management over the season, I think Giroud will get those minutes. And I think he's an amazing professional to have behind the scenes as well. He acted so well when he wasn't playing last year. Of course, there's going to be that concern for him to get into the France squad, but I think he will get time this season, whether it be in the cup competition, sometime in the Champions League. I think he wants to stay, and it's great to hear that he will not be leaving for Juventus so swiftly before the season starts. So let me know your opinions on this. Also, I want to reference Giroud gave some comments about Timo Werner joining the club, and it was interesting to me the type of comment he gave, because he said that, people were asking about being concerned about Timo Werner coming in, Chelsea strengthening in that area this season and his place being taken away. He said, I would have been more concerned if Chelsea brought in a striker who was of a similar profile to me. So like a Diego Costa, for instance. I think that's the interesting thing to me. And it's curious that he said something like that and pointed out that in his quote, because I think what it tells you is he maybe believes he's got a chance of getting into the first team this year. Maybe Timo Werner playing off him in some type of system. I mean, Frank could opt for a 3-5-2 at times. 2 strikers up top, and Giroud and Werner could play together as well. So I think happy Giroud staying. He was such a big part of our season and success last year, getting into the Champions League places. I think he can do the same this year. I think he's one of the best target men in the Premier League, not only in the Premier League, European football and world football. So it's great to see he will be staying at Chelsea. Please let me know your opinions on this in the comments below. So that is it for this edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.